Welcome to Framework. This is John, one of the hosts of Framework, and with me, as always, the other host of Framework, Al. Good morning.
Morning, John. We are here to... it could be the wrap-up of the Bioware Omnibus, but I think we're not quite done with the whole project. But we're going to finish up Dragon Age: The Veilguard, the most recent and possibly last ever Bioware game.
Yeah, huh? I guess there will technically be another Mass Effect. That's happening.
That train is well out of the station.
Right. But we've been kind of circling the drain for about a decade now with BioWare, and this is the third sort of calamitous failure in a row. I don't know if it's the biggest one. I think Anthem is just generally hard to beat in that score, but that, which of course is a game as service kind of thing that we can't even play anymore. I think the servers are done.
I think that one is completely dead, but also it's a sort of failure to launch. It did not have, if it had expectations built up around it, it was just around the BioWare brand. The Veilguard has the entire Dragon Age series that it's carrying, and this game actually got pretty good reviews. Some people are willing to defend it. I'm sorry. I think this game stinks. I don't like it, and it's really disappointing to me as a capper to the whole Dragon Age saga.
I'm not as harsh on it as you. I enjoyed some of my time with this game. The fight system worked for me. That was a big deal. But it is undeniable that as a BioWare game and as a continuation of this franchise, it's very disappointing. As it offers the things that I come to these games for, it is a failure, unquestionably.
Yeah. So we'll get into all that. Where we left off last time in the story, I believe, was that we were on our way to the Siege of Weishaupt. Came to me very suddenly in this game. All of a sudden, I was told, "Oh, there's a super blight covering the entire south of Thedas. Everywhere that we spent the first 3 games in." And I'm told to note that Denerim has been destroyed by Darkspawn, and there's another horde of Darkspawn led by an archdemon is marching on the Grey Warden Fortress of Weishaupt. And these are very big developments that are kind of... I was like, this is presented like a sci-fi original show. It doesn't have the budget for its story. So all of a sudden being told there's a massive army we haven't seen marching against a fortress we haven't seen, manned by a bunch of people we haven't met. And I'm wondering all of a sudden what happened to cutscenes? And apparently all the production value went into the siege itself, because once you get there, it's as big and blown out as Dragon Age has ever offered, really.
There are shades here of, everyone on the Citadel's dead now, from Mass Effect, which is a plot development that happens near the end, and you're just like, wow, that was a major hub for, this entire series, and we're just going to kind of wipe it off the board entirely off camera. Interesting.
Well, but we're also at least returning there.
After a fashion.
I like this, the stuff in the South that where is really leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's because it is this brutal Alien 3 style move, right? Of saying the entire country you saved in Dragon Age 1 has now been overrun by basically the exact thing you were trying to save it from, and the city you saved there has been destroyed off screen, and everything's gone to shit, and you don't have any say in that, and it happened again off screen. I can respect that kind of ruthlessness in some storytelling contexts, but I think it's really problematic in this particular one because it's saying basically everything that the player built up in the prior 3 games of continuity is summarily destroyed, and that's always dangerous to fuck around with the audience's prior investments like that, or investments in time and emotion. Mm-hmm. But in a video game like this, the entire premise of all of these games is that the world is being shaped by the player's choices. That kind of move really violates that compact and calls into question why I should care about what we're doing right now.
Yes, this game has made it clear from the beginning that it is as clean a break with the previous games as possible, while still holding on to whatever continuity. Barely any, really.
This is really chucking it out the window.
Mm-hmm. And you do that if you want to like completely reset your franchise, I guess. We're about to see the MCU try something similar, I have a feeling. But
Oh, yeah.
it's usually not like the move you want to make. It's usually kind of a
No.
desperation play. And even still, like, it is unnecessary in this case.
I mean, it is a thing that you have to kind of do from time to time, that DC has to do, Crisis on Infinite Earths or whatever, to just sort of clean up their own canon and create some on-ramps again for people.
That is, I think, the idea here. Yeah.
I can respect that more coming from an author, a singular author, or an imprint like DC Comics, where I am purely the audience to their fiction, and I can sort of like or dislike what they do with it. In the context of a Bioware game, it is a choose your own adventure context where I am being invited into at least a fiction, well, to the illusion that I am a co-author of this fiction. And so destroying that continuity that's built up, it's like, I don't know, it compounds the tragedy. It's destroying the continuities, not just that Marvel Comics built up or whatever, but each individual of the thousands and tens of thousands of individual continuities that different players have built up through these hundreds of small and large choices that create these bespoke game worlds. And I understand, like, that does become unsustainable to a certain point. That, like, the branching pathways grow exponentially, and maybe you can't do a fifth game that doesn't reset the game or the world state in some way. But there's got to be a better way than this, is how I thought.
Well, it was unnecessary. I mean, I guess if the idea is we keep making Dragon Age games based on the assumed success of Veilguard and the new audience of gamers that did not play the original games and cannot buy them on a modern format to play them, I guess that's who this game is for ultimately, not us. We're the old guard here.
It's just about new people. You don't have to destroy the old continuity, because the new people don't have a relationship with it and don't care, aren't bogged down by it already. The absolute ruthlessness of tossing off the destruction of that entire world in the margins, I could almost like construe that as this bracing artistic decision, the way that I kind of can with Alien 3.
No.
Yeah, even if I tried to do that, it clashes so horribly with the overly sunny tone of the rest of this game.
Well, I think you're barely meant to notice it, frankly.
Right.
They don't make it. This is like revealed over dialogue. There's no imagery of it. If you don't know the places they're speaking of, then this has no meaning to you.
Yeah. I mean, we do get some communication from our Inquisitor. I will give them some credit. Like, I am impressed with how well they were. First, they did it with having Hawk appear in Inquisition. Yeah. And now they had the Inquisitor appear in this game. And, like, luckily I had tried to mold my last Inquisition playthrough to the canonical Bioware Inquisitor being a female elf with a soulless romance anyway. And if you went that route, granted, they can't acknowledge 95% of the decisions you made or anything, like, or the characterization, but it's still basically functional in a way that I was impressed that they were able to include a Hawk, a substantial appearance by Hawk in Inquisition without breaking the link between those games too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing here, I suppose. The Inquisition as such is as represented as Kirkwall is in the third game. That's at least some continuity. It's out there. I kind of recreated my Inquisitor, and there he was. And, my little dwarf archer guy popped up again. He didn't do much of interest, per se. It's fine.
No, well, the Inquisitor can be a big part of the final resolution of the game if you are the canonical romance soulless option.
Yeah, well, my guy wasn't, so he wasn't. So he ended up not being there. He was there, and he had like a few words to say, but no, it didn't really matter in the end.
So at Weishaupt, we kill an archdemon, but they destroy this entire fortress. Like I said, it's the production value here is top notch. This is as good as the game looks, and I guess like gameplay wise feels. And then the big thing is, Lucanus is supposed to be our god killer. I forget exactly why he's the only one who can do the stabbing. I mean, I think it's mainly just because he's good at stabbing. Yeah. So we give him the special dagger to kill him, and he cuts her, wounds, but does not kill. This is about the most dramatic thing that happens in the game. That the Grey Wardens, I think, are now for like the third time basically completely wiped out in this franchise. But not really. I guess they're still around, but their stronghold is destroyed.
A big loss. Yeah.
Okay. Would have been great if we could have gone to that before it was being destroyed. If we could have seen it in its, prime or something. Even prepared it. Done some those 7 samurai mini missions that Bioware games will do sometimes, where you have to prepare the defenses.
I would have liked if Weishaupt had sort of a Helm's Deep like quality within the center of this story. Like if this was the big galvanizing set piece of the middle section of this game, instead of just sort of a one-off level that takes 90 minutes to play through, which is, like you said, good scale to it. But yeah, I mean, if I'd spent like 15 hours kind of in and around Weishaupt prior to that might have gone a long way to giving this narrative a bit more of a shape, as opposed to the none it currently has. Yeah.
And considering how much I despise our actual base of operations, and I hate the Lighthouse so much, I would love to, if Weishaupt had been our base. I mean, it would be repeating what Inquisition did with Haven and then destroying it, and then you have to get a new one for the next 2/3 of the game. But I don't know. I could have gone for that again, or something along those lines. Even if it was just a place that we could visit.
I don't think you can. I think once you're there, you're doing the mission.
Oh yeah, I know. So I mean, like, even if you didn't have big story missions there before the siege, if you could have just a place I could have gone and walked around, that would have been nice.
Another thing that might have been nice there would be some sort of variety of characters to talk to, whose fates matter and are determined by your actions. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah.
If you find the infrastructure of the Grey Warden leadership beyond, there's one guy who's mean and your 2 little quest givers. That's it. That's all you need. It might be cool if there was a whole town there that you could kind of deal with, and not unlike in Inquisition, a game I complained about when we were talking about it. There are people there who kind of live or die based on what you do, and it's not a very deep system, but something like that just crops up for the middle act of this game, leading to this big confrontation, really would have gone a long way into giving this, just a narrative shape.
Even if it's just a completely scripted death of some supporting character beyond the asshole boss of the Grey Wardens, that you're really not allowed to care about by the game.
Right.
And like that could go somewhere there. Okay, so kill the archdemon, which is the first half of the thing, because that makes the elven god Gillenane mortal, so we could kill her potentially now. Fail to kill her.
Do we get both their archdemons here? Or is it no?
No, it's later we fight 2 at a time.
I don't remember.
I don't. Yeah, we killed one here. Also, it doesn't really It doesn't fully manifest as the dragon. There's just like giant kaiju blight tentacles. Again, the scale's nice, like that.
Yeah. Well, frankly, I don't need more dragon fights in the goddamn game. And I know it's Dragon Age, but there's enough dragons in the
absolutely. This is true. There is not enough enemy variety. Too many random dragon boss fights. Okay, so now we have our group meeting afterwards to talk things over.
To make sure that Lucanus feels all right and is emotionally recuperating from the blow that his ego has taken. That seems to be the main point of the meeting, right?
Yeah, well, they're all the group therapy sessions. Is how they feel like, and he is distraught. He can't believe he missed. I'm like, I don't know. The game makes such a big deal out of how torn up he is about this. I'm like, I don't know, man. We're fighting gods. All of us are the veterans of 100 battles. Like, nobody had considered the possibility that you could lose at any point, or that you might not. Beyond that, I'm like, actually,
we did okay here.
in the grand scheme of things, we killed half of a god and lost one castle. And I'm like, that's probably an okay trade overall. If I'm, an inquisitor type, actual leader of a war effort, I think in that way. But the game paints this as a devastating loss, basically because it hurts Lucanus's mojo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's lost his confidence, you see. And we're going to have to rebuild that through a series of quests.
Well, sort of, but also the entire team group is working to rebuild it, within the first conversation we're having about it. And
right.
So that conversation just talks we start talking about how look, I think part of the reason we failed here is we've all been distracted by our personal issues. And so any distractions that we have can be fatal in this fight to save the world. So obviously what we all need to do is buckle down and really focus on those personal issues for a bit. What?
Well,
what do you think the word distraction means?
This is a Mass Effect thing. This is what all these games have this moment and this conversation, Or maybe it's not quite so, maybe they don't have the conversation.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2 is the only other one that I think makes this conversation at all explicit.
Mm-hmm.
And even there, the way it's presented there makes so much more sense to me because it's presented by the Cerberus people like Miranda and the Elusive Man who are talking about it in more manipulative terms about
exactly.
Look, this is your crew. Do what you do.
No distractions.
Get their heads on straight.
Yeah.
But also it's presented as a push-pull of, but don't waste too much time. And and this, everybody is in agreement, guys, mental health days are important. And we have got to do that. The apocalypse can wait. We need to make sure Davrin feels good about his relationship with his griffin. And the game really holds your hand in a way that hand holding has become a big theme for the rest of this episode, by the way. But the way the game really holds your hand and watch you do that, a little insulting as a player, as a veteran of many of these games to me, and also just ruinous to any sort of emotional reality of this game or world building of these stakes.
Mm-hmm. A common complaint I saw lobbed against this game was that every conversation feels like HR was in the room for it, and my initial take on that was just this is some weird anti-woke thing, but no, it's really accurate. It's
not. I wouldn't invoke HR as much. It feels like every writer on this game is really into is multiple years into therapy and really believes in its efficacy, and so everybody talks about things in not quite self-help terms, but in mental health terminology, as well as feels like.
I mean, most interactions feel like they went through it. I know they did a draft and then is there a more effective and helpful way that Lucanus could have said that? Is there?
Okay, that's what.
We were second guessing everything to make sure it is as constructive as possible. Even the fights that they have are
very constructive. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And this flattens everyone's character, of course.
I then go do a bunch of side quests, and then we have another sit down where everyone agrees again that what we need to do is deal with our personal issues so they don't distract us from fighting the gods, and then actually congratulate each other on getting along and talking things through. And I guess that's where you're talking. It does feel like the HR rep is mediating it and speaking through Harding to be well, at least we can. It's good we can have these talks and communicate. This is where I feel myself just aging in real time, like the dust is falling from my bones as we go, because again, for me, it's never I don't focus in on the woke stuff, but it is something about modern writing, and I think it's Zoomer culture in a way or whatever. But the conflict aversion that is, to me, deadly to drama and comedy. Really, I just want to shake the generation below me and be like, conflict is not to be avoided in fiction. It's actually kind of the entire engine of storytelling, and you can be one way in your try to be one way in your real life, and it doesn't mean your characters all have to be that way unerringly from start to finish in your fiction. It makes everything so flat and unengaging. In my
yeah, especially in group dynamic games like this,
Right.
in teams, and I mean, we've talked about this every time we've talked about Veilguard. Like the point of the factions is that they should not get along in some way.
Right.
Like there should be conflict between the factions. You should be pissing one faction off if you're helping another one, and that's just not part of the game. They're all just separated and isolated, and there's almost no way to piss them off. It's very odd. It seems like it's the whole point of having them would be to, contrast them and bounce them off one another.
And that is as above, so below with the factions and their representative party members that you have there. You can't, I mean, the game developers said after the switch from the multiplayer concept of this game to single player is that they were changing the game's focus to really focus on the companion characters because that's BioWare's real specialty.
Yes.
And you know what? That is technically correct. A lot of these games we talked about, I think they're genuinely brilliant in their story construction in many ways. And some of their game design, the way they integrate that stuff with the story can be amazing and sometimes less so. But ultimately, like these games do kind of tend to live and die on the strength of the supporting casts. So focusing on the supporting cast is a perfectly good choice to make. It worked great for Mass Effect 2, one of the best games of all time, I think. And that is really the game that is about building your team and the crew. But for all that, I think all of the best casts of these games are the ones that are the biggest messes. Like my favorite crew is the Knights of the Old Republic 2 crew, which is crew. Everybody's fucked up and doesn't get along there. And then the Origins crew and the Mass Effect 2 crew are to lesser extents that way, but those are the most interesting of all of them. The problem is, okay, all the rest of the game design in this game does not back up that line at all.
No, not at all. Especially the systems, like the menus and the inventories and the way you upgrade everybody and all. None of that's interesting or in any way part of the storytelling.
Yeah, the Dragon Age game that's putting all its chips on the companion characters as the focus would not be the first Dragon Age game that does not allow you to control those companions in combat.
Yeah.
Or where they can't die in combat, so I don't really care what they're doing while I'm not controlling them. Like, I don't even, this is in some ways the same fight system as Mass Effect, but I don't even worry about managing them to the degree I did in Mass Effect. Because even there, I mostly left them to their own devices between the cooldowns, but
I use them for heals mostly.
If I wanted to manage them in Veilguard, it would be annoying because the visual design of the game is such that somehow I can't tell them apart from any of the human-sized enemies they're fighting when we're on the field.
Oh, well, the game looks like it. This is what do they call it? A pixel crush. I don't know. There's a phrase that people use about when it's just a series of colors and explosions on a screen that, if somebody walks in the room while you're having one of the bigger fights and they will have no chance of knowing what the hell's going on. And you only knew yourself because of, just you've been playing this for several hours and barely need the visual cues at this point.
Even 70 hours into this game, I find myself accidentally shooting all my arrows at somebody I realize afterwards, like, oh, that's Davrin, actually.
Okay.
And he was swinging at a Venatori, but I couldn't tell them apart visually from across the field. And also, so many of the special moves involve people teleporting into the fray, which adds to the visual confusion considerably.
I got very good at the fighting in the last third of this. Like I said, I've enjoyed the combat system for what it is. It does not reinforce or reflect the narrative at all, though. It's very much its own thing. And, I as someone who's not liked the combat system at all in the last two games, and isn't even a big fan of it in the first game, it's kind of remarkable to me how little a very action-heavy combat system that worked intuitively for me did not help the game much, ultimately.
This game has made me so much bigger fans of all the prior games. And I do like the combat system of every game prior to this better. Maybe Dragon Age 2 is comparable to
That's
this,
a very
'cause
bad game.
That's a
system.
bad combat system. Yes. But at least I can control my companions in it.
Fair enough.
And I would never thought of myself as a big like turn-based RPG purist, but now I look back on Origins and be like, man, what an incredibly deep strategic system there was there. I knew I used each of my party members differently. I knew exactly what I needed to do with them. I could see who they were when they were fighting different enemies. I knew it's so much strange that is so much because it's turn-based and everything. The animations are so much more mechanical. Of you go up and do the same swinging animation with your sword every time or whatever.
Yeah.
And yet it's so much more coherent to me what's going on than the sort of the chaoticness of this fight system where I'm just constantly flipping around and hip firing arrows and doing a couple of whacks. And I don't know what my companions are doing at any time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you again, I have fun with the combat in this game, but it certainly doesn't, it really has the effect of not improving the game, ultimately. Like, it's, well, I don't know if that's right, but it certainly is, it's not saving the game, that's for goddamn sure. It is not, it's not elevating it or increasing it or complementing the narrative in any way.
Well, it's mechanically, if this is a type of, I don't know, like I haven't played the God of War games, but if that, as I understand them, they have kind of a similar combat system to this perhaps, and
kind of, yeah,
less story.
I think there's more story, frankly.
The combat's so removed from the story of this, and
well, that's not a problem the God of War games have. The God of War games, the combat and the story are integrated very well, actually. Right. Those are very good games and with really compelling stories. There's this thing they took from there to put in Veilguard, but this sort of design ethos is not present. It's not at all. I mean, you know, part of that is just that those games are very physical. You know, there is a heft to what you're doing, which is appropriate for the character and kind of informs the character, which is, you know, he is a brute. You know, he is a sort of a murderer, and that's who you're playing, and the combat reinforces that every step of the way. The brutality of what you're doing is part of the narrative arc. There's no brutality in this game.
Well, again, for my experience of this, and maybe, you know, as a rogue on normal, the combat of this did make me felt like something I was doing independent of my party for the most part.
Yeah.
And so my party members felt more like quest givers than active party members than in prior Dragon Age games.
I think I used them more than you. I definitely used them for healing and you know, and setting up primers and, you know, and things like that. I believe I had them more integrated into what I was doing on the combat front, but even still, you know, yeah, they're not present in the way they have been in every previous one, or in the way the Mass Effect characters are.
Right.
Despite having a very similar combat system.
Yes. So another way that I think the construction of this game works against that is a game that's all about the companions should probably also not be the first one that puts them on a completely different level progression system than the player characters.
Yeah.
That is 80% less elaborate than the player's skill tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rook maxed out. I maxed out at level 50 as Rook. My companions, I think one of them got to level 10. And I'm like,
that's it. Yeah.
Why? Like, in every other Bioware game and party-based RPG I've played, like, characters, your player character and the companions have like similar classes and gain levels in the same way. And usually, like, you know, they always want your character to be the strongest in the party, and you can accomplish that pretty simply by just making them a couple of levels higher than anybody else. Maybe giving them one or two unique abilities. And that works fine, but, you know, Mass Effect 2 or 3 or whatever, like, the skill trees are functionally the same. And here they're very, like, the companion ones are very, very stunted. Like, they have maybe 20% as many options as I do.
Yeah, there's basically 3 or 6 powers that each of them has, or 5 maybe. I don't know. There's less than you can use. You can use 3 of them, essentially. Right. And I guess you can choose which one you want to put all your points in. But, it's not too useful or important that you do that, just as long as you make sure you have, the healers, at least for me. That was
the only thing that really mattered. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can kind of make do with the rest of it. And maybe there are play styles that it becomes more fruitful to select certain parts of different things. But, it kind of just didn't matter who I went with, ever.
No, I
didn't change how I played, ever.
The only way I ever, strategically chose a party member was if I knew I was going to do a boss fight, I double-checked to make sure that I had somebody who had a healing power. Because that was going to be a long-ass fight. And maybe on the higher difficulties, I would have had to get more keyed into how to set up specific primer detonations or whatever.
Yeah.
But like we talked about before, these combat encounters were already way too long for me on normal. And I did not want to extend that out at all.
Okay.
So it don't give as many gear slots to the companions as to the player, or allow for gear to be shared across the characters. Or, you can customize their look and their loadout a little bit, but not as much as in Origins or some of his other games. So all of that, I think, betrays party line that this is all about the party characters. Was our real focus.
What else is it about, though, is the thing?
That's nothing.
What you're doing moment to moment in this game, as often as not, is the story, these side quests for the characters. Like that, you have 7 people on your team. I would say 60% of the game's narrative is about these guys' individual stories.
Yes, and so that'll bring us back to that general writing of that, and that is where everything to me has that Zoomer fanfic feeling I'm complaining about. Where it feels to me like they're kind of overcompensating maybe for knowing that the game has some of these other issues by really straining to make all the characters likable at every step of the way. And that to me is the sort of plague of the modern writing I'm talking about. It reminds me of The Force Awakens, which is a dog shit movie that made $1 billion in spite of itself by coasting on the iconography of the most iconic work of fiction ever. And in the process, fucked up Disney's whole output for the next decade. I think that level of success with that horrible, in spite of that horrible writing that they did. Every scene of that movie. I don't know how many times people say specifically, to the camera, I like this guy, this new character.
The foundation that sets for Star Wars going forward is disastrous.
Yes.
Every choice that movie makes, is a short-term one that fucks them for the next 2 movies. And you can really tell because there's nothing off of that wing of Star Wars that's been expanded on. They've never done anything that takes place in that era of Star Wars that's not one of those 3 films.
And this does loop back to what we were talking about in the prior episodes about, obviously you come to our Dragon Age Veilguard episodes to hear us theorize about late stage capitalism. But it is short-term thing of that. Even as legacy sequels and legacy media have taken over everything, and the legacy IP has taken over all of studio filmmaking. They're still so fucking bad at it so much of the time. And I think it's because just Force Awakens right out of the gate was this smash hit that everybody took every wrong lesson away from. The only successful, the template for legacy sequels is so much about we're going to introduce the new character and then have the old legacy character pass the baton off to this new generation. And then we'll be off and running and revive the franchise or whatever. And I can think of one time where they have actually successfully passed a baton to a new character that became the focus of their own franchise, and that's Creed.
Right. Okay.
And every other time, we didn't get any Mutt Lang sequels, we didn't get any more Rey sequels after the trilogy that they were committed to making. Ghostbusters have not really passed on. We haven't had a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife. There's so many.
We have actually. There's Frozen Empire.
Oh yeah, these Frozen Empire. That's right. That's the same characters?
Yeah, and they don't let go of any of those. You got Bill Murray in that film, so they're all still there.
Right. Okay. Yes, they're still hovering over. Like the legacy people are still hovering over their shoulders. That's
yeah. Uh-huh.
And we've gotten 2 Tron sequels, but new stars each time. It seems like.
Well, Tron has never succeeded. Is the funny thing about that? Like, there's never been a successful Tron movie.
Right. I love that. Maybe the most successful legacy sequel is Top Gun Maverick, which dispenses with like even pretending that it's going to like.
Yeah, it's not going to follow Goose's
son is going to take over the franchise.
Yeah. Well, I think that's wise though, and it's the right star to do that with. But it probably should be that every time, right? I mean, even Dial of Destiny is trying to do that. It's trying to be Star Wars or Indiana Jones Maverick, but it has other issues as well. It's just hard to do, I suppose, especially with an 85-year-old man at the center of it.
You know what was actually kind of successful is they did do a Furiosa spinoff.
Kind of. It's a prequel though. It's slightly different.
It's a prequel. It's also that it isn't a Mad Max movie, but it's not the original Mad Max, reprising their role the way that it's Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford coming back to be Deckard and to be Indiana Jones and to be Han Solo all over again. And the character is not a younger generation. It's more of like a contemporary of Max that they then spin off. Anyway, this is all my way of saying like that the writing in this really reminds me of The Force Awakens and how it's really insisting on everybody being the most likable they can be at every turn. And that this leads to me hating them. And now as we're getting into these companion quests, I'm trying so hard to be an asshole.
Right. And
it won't let me.
It's very difficult to do that in this game. I don't think you can in most cases. That's the rest of this game, basically. There's a little bit at the very end, but I mean, the next 20 to 30 hours after Weishaupt is finishing these quest lines for these characters, getting everyone's personal day material taken care of. And in most cases, it ends up being a little longer than you expect. And
quite all of them are a stage longer than like there's a second and then a third act. I'm like, oh no, like I thought I could leave this quest line, but now like the villain got away and we're all going through act. So this is another thing that bothers me about these quests is they start to feel modular. In the way that we complain about the factions. I all like have a pair, like a man and a woman quest givers pair representing them.
Yeah.
And on the 4th iteration of that, it starts to feel like it's coming out of a mold. And every command character's quest, like, oh, they've all got their own particular villain nemesis and a sub-villain that will kill in the second act. And then the big villain will get away and we'll to chase them down. And so we'll have the Dragon King for Tosh and the Butcher for Lucanus and Zara, and then leading into her, and Aelia for Nev, and Johanna for Emmerich.
Hezenkos. Yes.
I like Johanna Hezenkos, but unfortunately, I'm like, but this is the 5th iteration of this, and it feels very inorganic now.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up liking Harding's story one among the most just because it was not like the rest of them. It wasn't good.
The only one that breaks that mold, yeah.
Yeah, but it was different, and that was nice. It was the first one I finished, and then I was like, oh, now turns out I had it pretty good there. Oh, well. So, I don't know, should we go through these individually, just in brief? There's not much difference to them, so there's not much to say per se. But I guess it is kind of, we can talk about the characters and how they are implemented, and ultimately how we feel about them in the context of Dragon Age, and pass fail on these guys. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah,
I say let's do Tosh and Emmerich at the end.
Yeah,
I have the most to say about them.
I might as well. Okay, so let's go with Harding. It has variety going for it. That's really about it. But it is different, and there is weird dwarf lore. That is, I guess, I'm more interested in that than the weird elf lore.
Oh well, we're just drowning in weird elf lore is the problem. So
yeah,
the dwarf lore again, like I said with the entire design of this quest, it is variety at a bare minimum.
Yeah. I'm not too interested in Harding. She is the the only dwarf who can use magic or something like that is what's going on. And why is that? Well, it's because she has a connection to the Titans, or the old sort of primordial beings that existed before dwarves. They were, kind of mountain-sized or something like that, or maybe they were a part of the earth. They're not,
they were mountain. I thought they were sentient mountains.
Yeah, they're not creatures in the sense that we understand what that means. They're sort of ecosystems unto themselves.
War with the ancient elves, which were maybe still spirits at the time. It's really hard to parse what that actually means.
There's a Greek mythology, or maybe more accurately, a Norse mythology kind of bent to this stuff, where it's just sort of it's existentially not clear what we're talking about here. Like, wait, they were the size of planets or something? I don't get it. It's storytelling in a way, but I don't know.
Greek mythology feels so simple and clear to me in relation to Dragon Age mythology now, because they're like, yeah, these were concepts of different aspects of the world, of nature, humans, but also like physically though they were human shaped and fighting each other and venal like humans. I don't know what it means for the ancient elves that lived in a time when the world of dreams and the waking world were at war with the living mountains. Like, I don't know what that looked like at all. But apparently it ended with Mythal, who we know had known as Flemeth, and now Morrigan, convincing Solus, maybe before he had a physical body, to use his magic lyrium dagger to sever the Titans from their dreams, which then drove their dreams mad and became the source of the blight, which is now everything in this game.
That was the source of the blight?
Yes.
It's no longer the philosophers coming to the palace in the center of the Fade and
no, that turned out to be
that
false religious mythology.
Okay. Shit.
Again, it's hard. Yeah. This stuff's not easy to parse because it is layered and it is, like I said, sort of representational rather than literal in some cases. And when it was literal, it was thousands and thousands of years ago when the world and the races and the laws of physics were all different.
Right. And I also made a point of not reading the codex in this game. I couldn't be fucked for that at all. So I was not as compelled by the mythology as I have been in the past. So I'm sure I left a lot of it kind of on the side of the road.
I spent 45 minutes reading Solus's wiki entry this morning to try and to attempt to be able to parse some of this stuff for you. I did not get this from the game itself. I mean, I got the part about the Titans being the source of the blight originally because of that, what Solus and Mythal had done something bad to them.
Okay.
Because Balara and Davrin were kind of torn up about that in a way that made no sense to me. Like we talked about last time. It's like we're talking about maybe Cro-Magnon man here, and maybe like I don't know the first fish with feet coming. Like these are. I don't think there's actually a cultural legacy for you to like tear yourself up about here.
Now we were trying to figure out a way to talk about Harding here, and immediately got sidetracked on Titan nonsense because I mean I guess that is
that's
on offer. Yeah. Fundamentally, it's going into caves and, wandering around, and she finds a thing. Is like, oh, I feel something now. And then you fight a rock guy, and then she talks to a rock, and you go back. And that happens 3 times, 4 times, something like that.
Yeah, and then she gets possessed by an angry rock. Mm-hmm. And you can talk her down, or maybe you can beat her into submission. I talked her down in this one. It was one of the few times I tried. I was not trying to be an asshole in one of these companion quests. I don't remember exactly what my reasoning was at the time. But
mm-hmm.
So here's the problem with I got 2 problems with Harding in this game.
Mm-hmm.
One, I don't like the way she sits.
No.
She's constantly had like in our group powwow sessions, she's like always got her legs curled up underneath her, like with a cup of tea. And then visited her. She's always like reclining. And
that's true.
we're supposed to be talking about the end of the world here. You're saying you're taking this seriously, but you're like, can you just sit up to take this seriously, maybe? So, did not like that. Beyond that, I don't like that this is a completely different character than appeared in Inquisition. I don't know why it's like the Harding Inquisition was not a like super detailed characterization, but it was a very self-sufficient, competent person who, was a scout that lived in the wilderness and was self-sufficient. And then in this,
That's why people liked her. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then in this they change out her personality to be some sort of like kind of an insecure people pleaser.
Yeah, she's a bit of a flibberty gibbet.
Yeah.
Very
odd because that's what Balara is also.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
This, sort of, the fangirl energy that comes off both of them. And it's strange to have steered away from the established characterization that people did like for what it was. It's really strange to do it while doubling up on character traits or giving other party members.
That's true. So pass fail on Harding. I think the lightest of passes, just sort of situationally. Yeah,
I will give it the lightest of passes because at least again, Dwarven lore is a somewhat of a reprieve from ancient Elven.
Speaking of Elven lore and Balara, let's do her next.
Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with Balara's brother in this quest. So we find out he died. But not really. And then he pledged himself to an evil ancient elven god, but not either of the evil ancient elven gods that we're fighting in the main quest.
A much smaller version of it, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sort of a backwards version of it. A backwoods kind of rural, just sort of lesser evil elven god.
It's a farm team. It's a AAA evil elven god. And I just... like, what? Why would you repeat the main quest this directly on a smaller scale for this? But whatever. We meet up with him, and Balara has a tearful conversation with him. I think the second time we meet up with him, because these all quest lines drag on for quite a while. Mm-hmm. We walk away from him, and I'm telling her, we're going to have to stop him, and she says, I know. But he's right over our shoulder. Like, why are we stopping him if we agree on this? Why are we waiting for him to do something really terrible? And then in the final confrontation, the game just backs off that conflict set up entirely. Like, he just turns back to the light side and helps us kill the monster, just kind of like right off the bat. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, what?
This is the sort of. I mean, I feel like I've played a version of this story in every single Dragon Age game, right? I mean, there's always it's a demon who has seduced somebody into assisting them, and taken over a town as a result. It's one of the first things you do in Origins with the Shale quest, and just versions of this always. It's kind of it's what the demons do. I mean, this guy technically is different. He's an elven god of some kind, but it's the same.
We have so many ancient elven gods already.
I mean, it could have just been a regular run-of-the-mill demon again, honestly. But even still, there was no chance for me to give a shit about this at any point.
The demon masquerading as the cat in Origins, though, is so much better and
it's way better
portrayed and spookier, and the evil, and there's nasty outcomes to that quest.
Yeah, nothing like that here.
I mean, contrast this with how the Jacob loyalty quest in Mass Effect 2 goes. That's their...
well, yeah, sure.
You learn that his family member's been up to some shady business that was thought long dead, and has been up to some nasty shit. And it does not immediately rehabilitate his father. It doesn't rehabilitate him at all, actually, and allows you to take different resolutions to that quest. That
I don't think there's a single one that rehabilitates him. Actually,
no, there's not. But Jacob can feel differently about that, and those feelings aren't necessarily going to make the end of the game play out differently on a plot level, but they affect your how that character acts and how you react to him.
Who is notably one of the least interesting characters in Mass Effect 2, and still has that depth to him.
The least interesting, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, Balara, hard fail. Not good.
That's a fail.
You get to decide whether you want to keep the knowledge of the gods library or something like that, or destroy it. It couldn't matter less. I think I kept it for the record. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I kept it. It did provide you a binary choice there.
Yeah, they all have a little binary choice at the end.
But the game also, like, it's so clear, and like in that one, it presents two completely opposite things as both positive.
Yep.
And
well, it's supposed to be a hard choice. It's supposed to be a hard choice, Like, I mean, it isn't because you don't give a shit. But all of these are supposed to be hard choices with no obvious correct choice.
Mission has as a harder choice because there's no obvious correct solution to it. The possessed cat in the Sheol quest line is a harder choice because there are some rewards there for taking the nasty path that are tempting. And yeah, I contrast this though, that other parts of this game, a big failing of it is that it will hold your hand so much and tell you exactly what you need to do. It'll identify that there's a good ending or a good outcome. And it will,
you're getting it either way. God damn it!
Yeah. Well, for the whole Bioware thing and Dragon Age particularly, the lack of story shaping choices here is really striking. Like, and especially for a game that eventually reveals that its main theme is dealing with regret. This game does not allow me to make any choices worth regretting.
Mm-hmm.
Like for as much as the entire Bioware thing has always been about chart your own path, like this game does not allow me to shape my own character or to make story or world defining choices. And it's also, when I made the effort to make bad choices, it's much more expressly judgmental about announcing those choices as bad on screen and telling me I done fucked up.
But you haven't.
Like, have you
seen? It changes nothing either.
No, but in the finale, it was going to tell me,
okay,
so and so was a bad choice to defend this gate, and therefore he died. And then, if you looked at the bad ending, where you get everybody killed,
it is judgy
too.
Yes,
there's text on the screen that says that with better choices, this could have been avoided. And with Mass Effect, you do the bad ending of Mass Effect 2 and get Shepard killed. Joker doesn't turn to the screen and say, "If only he had done more loyalty missions, humanity could have been would be better off now." Like,
yeah,
that shits me. I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. So, moving on then. Let's see. Davrin. This is a tough one actually, because I thought it started pretty okay. The Gloomhowler plot I thought was one of the better subplots, and there was a cool monster fight in the middle, and there was some stuff I liked about it. It really whimpers out in the end. It just sort of
the revelation that the Griffins died out because the Wardens intentionally blighted them to make them stronger when they were facing in a particularly bad strait in one of the blights. Like, okay, and that the Gloomhowler monster was a Warden themselves originally. Like, not a bad twist. I think we're kind of reaching a point where you can't really like get juice out of like
the Wardens.
Kind of like the acolyte thing. Like, oh, maybe the Jedi's are the bad guys of this story. You can get juice out of that. The Wardens, like I said, have been sullied. They've always been the Grey Wardens. They were never the Light Wardens. And they were always presented as gray enough that having some like dark secrets in their past doesn't hit very hard anymore.
Nope, not at all. And that is ultimately, I think, the problem here is that I'm not particularly fucked either way with this revelation. And it doesn't seem like there's many choices you can make that matter. The ending is, you're going back to the same dungeon you've already been to. It's not one of the better ones. And, just hitting more blight bubbles and doing the same shit.
Well, you'll have to explain this to me. So I didn't do the last leg of Davrin or Lucanus's side quests.
Oh, Lucanus is fun. Okay.
I mean, one, I was kind of sick of it, but also I got to a point where I was, you know what? I intuited that I'm going to want to get a worse ending to this game. I'm going to try and get people killed in the finale here. And if I've completed all the loyalty missions, I don't think this game is going to let me. And so I left the last 2 undone and made every bad choice I could, and it's still maxed out. I got 2 people killed.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Not much happens at the end. The choice you get is, do you want to return the griffins to the warden's care or free them in the Arlathon forest to kind of develop on their own evolutionary pathway, maybe under the care of the elves and veil jumpers, sort of. And that's what I chose, and everyone was fine with that. And you missed nothing, frankly. I like Davrin. I found him a useful ally in my fight style. I think ultimately his narrative really petered out.
Yeah, he was promising at first. He had voice performance and, competent and not, well, he didn't have the fangirl energy and the too many of the wry nothing asides. So I was like,
no, I like that about
start. Ultimately,
just kind of a serious guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but Sirius contrasted well with everybody being an unfunny smartass in the conversation. So I was willing to go along with that. It petered out, and it pretty quickly became just, every conversation with him, everything about it is just about him being a Griffin daddy and how he feels about his Griffin daddiness.
And I was fine with that. I don't know. I feel like I'm grading if I'm grading on a curve, he's a pass. How about that?
I didn't finish it, so I guess I should abstain myself. But although it sounds like the part I skipped was the worst part, so
it was.
That would push him to fail.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm cool with that too, because it's not good. But it's better than some of the other stuff. So Lucanus, I think he has one of the better wrap-ups here. There's some interesting characters he comes across. Now, he's not the only one this is true of. I was a little like, when we finally met the Antom, the Butcher Antom, and the evil governor, I was sort of like, why weren't these guys around earlier? God damn it. Why are we just now in the final third of this quest line meeting the villains, who are kind of interesting, with interesting vocal performances?
Oh, the Butcher fucking rules in the one scene where you're meeting him. I'm like, yes, like why is this guy not a major villain? This is like, this guy could have been Logain.
Yep.
Of this whole game. He's got interesting motivation. So he's this, and he fooled me into thinking he was voiced by Clancy Brown for a while. That's the highest compliment I can give a voice actor.
Yeah. Yeah, he's striking design, which is also rare, and then and like within 10 minutes meeting him, less, he's like, now I will turn into a monster and have no more presence in this story. And it's just like,
yeah, that's the problem. As soon as he gets the hooks in me, then he's like, and now I must turn myself into a monster so I can give you the. And then once you defeat me, I will be able to give you the next quest you need. Wait, what? That you had me just a moment ago, and now we're doing what? It made me long for a different game. A Dragon Age 2 style thing where we're just in Treviso the whole time under occupation from the Antom, and maybe they're like these other forces working through them or something.
No, just do a good version of that in Veilguard, though. You can do the entirety, the interesting stuff from Dragon Age 2 can take place in Treviso, and you just make the whole plot line there, and it's, I don't know, 12 to 15 hours long or something like that, and it plays out over the course of the game, and change it, and you change the way things are happening in the city, and there's somebody in charge is different at the end, and it can even be members of your organization, and they can just have sort of different philosophies, because that's part of it too, is there's sort of a traitor crow there, or something like that, one of his brothers, and that's the least interesting part of it.
I love the concept of this Kunari general who's, comes from a strict religious military thing, falling in love with the city of Treviso, which, Dragon Florence for its artsiness, and like
it's a character idea,
and having no way to express that like functionally. He appreciates it for its art, but he like his and so but his only way of protecting it is gonna break that. Like he can't. He's gonna pet the bunny too hard, obviously, and ruin what he loves about it. But he can't help himself. Like that's such a good turn for a Kunari and character and antagonist. And there's no time to explore that whatsoever. It's all dumped on you in a single conversation where my work's basically going, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm not even entirely sure who you are. Yeah, right.
He monologues all the interesting stuff and then runs off to be like Animal in the Muppet movie. Just suddenly becomes, oh, you're 3 stories tall now and you're a monster. Okay.
Yeah, that's frustrating as hell. He's replaced as the villain by another guy who's a little bit interesting, which is a political operator. You might have missed this guy. I don't know.
I got him like when you kill the butcher, the governor stands up on a roof and monologues at you a little bit, but I never followed up on it because I was like, this is getting a little interesting, but I'm trying to fuck up the ending, and so I've got to abandon it now.
No, he's kind of okay because, excuse me, they're kind of okay because this villainous F. Murray Abraham governor is in fact non-binary.
Yes, that's as they threw me, I'm like, I must have missed when they announced that or whatever. This is like they got a beard, a bald, and present entirely male, and then everybody's in they. I'm like,
it's honestly hilarious. Fine. It's. Because he's this villain character. It's basically the Grima Wormtongue kind of archetype, and everyone makes very very sure to be careful about his pronouns, their pronouns.
Right.
It's a ridiculous kind of thing that they throw in there at the end. So I assume specifically just so Tosh is not the only character in the game that applies to.
I think that's what they decided. Yeah, it seems very clear they threw that in after like the character had been. It was not built into the character from the ground up. It was thrown at the last minute, probably because they were still recording dialogue around that quest and realized that this is one of the only places we can throw another non-binary person in production wise. That's my assumption anyway.
That said, this character is kind of interesting. Maybe not as interesting as the butcher Antam, but they do have a philosophy. You know, they're actually saying things that are a little bit not black and white. There's a point of view being expressed there, which is like, hey, you know, maybe this Assassin's Guild running the city is not a great way of running a city.
Exactly. I liked this character up until now, and that was part of why I was okay with the Banished West. I'm like, here's the problem. I know they're not going to allow me to actually side with this person over the crows.
Right.
Which I would love to do as a role-playing exercise. Say, yeah, you know what? Actually, an elected official is superior to a murder mafia.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, ultimately where it ends up is like, well, the crows have pushed my hand and now I have to destroy the city with blight. God damn it. I really wish I didn't have to do this. And it's just like, ugh, what a boring resolution to this, you know?
That's right. Like the crows, at least, you know, they're funner to listen to because of their accents than some of the other factions and all that. But I'm still like, I'm pushing really hard to be an asshole at this point to anybody. And taking the hardest line I could with Lucanus when he was mad about missing a shot with Gillinane led me to telling him being a professional doesn't mean going it alone. And like, yeah, okay, HR approves this line. Like the party dialogue in this game is like 80% reassurance. It sucks.
You can't fight with anyone.
No, I want to. I couldn't tell Emmerich that his plan to become a lich is stupid and I'll kill him if he tries it. Like, when he does become an undead monster, that's presented as a completely positive development with no drawbacks. And I wondered briefly, like, is this because they don't want to say anything negative about in a narrative that's about transitioning? Like, at least subtextually?
Yeah, they don't want to offend the liches in the player base.
But then I just missed that because I was like, no, wait. If they were even aware of that layer, like it's the same people who wrote Tasha's narrative, they would never stoop to anything as cowardly as subtext.
Yeah, we'll get to Emmerich, man. I don't know. Is there anything to say about Nev? It's an obvious fail with Nev, by the way. Nev's plot sucks.
Oh yeah, obvious fail. The more I'm trying to think about this, I think they're all just fails. Because now I'm thinking about like, I'm giving them grading on a curve here, but even the best of these is not as good as the least interesting character subplot in Mass Effect 2. So,
I think Emmerich's okay. I like the Lich stuff a little bit.
It's definitely the best idea.
Let's be done with everybody except Tosh and Emmerich. I don't even who we're forgetting. They're boring.
Just Nev, but we don't even have to. Dev is nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. Okay. So Emmerich is the Lich thing. I think this is very interesting. He wants to be an undead sorcerer.
Yes.
A skeleton person. And he doesn't have hangups about skeletons, so it's kind of okay, at least in his mind. But he has to kind of give up an ineffable human part of himself to do so, represented by he has the choice to bring his skeleton manservant back to life or not. And so you actually have a choice that means something in one of these quest lines, which is, do you bring back Manfred, and Emmerich gives up his chance of being a lich, or does Emmerich embrace lichdom and leave Manfred dead and sort of leave humanity behind to be a skeleton sorcerer? And yeah, both are valid choices.
I guess. I mean, like,
his actual plot line with the other necromancer who's a lich comes to nothing, really. It's kind of a boring little nothing. It's fine. There's some good atmosphere on the board, but really it's just the same shit as everyone else.
Yeah, I do like the Haunted Mansion. The Luigi's Haunted Mansion there is one of the more interesting visually locations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Compared to some of the very uninteresting ones that were in otherwise. I mean, the problem with this, to me, well, a couple problems. One, it's not articulated very well to me. Manfred dying is not like a tragedy, right? It's like, oh, we won't have our cute mascot around, but I don't think it's like Manfred is a skeleton animated by a spirit.
Yeah.
And so I think the spirit will still go back to the fade or whatever spirits do. I don't think the spirit's destroyed exactly, but maybe that was supposed to be. Well,
I mean,
maybe I'm just thinking that because that would make that choice actually make sense as a choice to fuss over.
Well,
otherwise, who cares?
I think the point is that Emmerich is either, precious about death and losing people and being separated by death, which is sort of his defining fear and why he wants to be a lich, or he has transcended it. And it's whether he's gotten over the fear of death or not is kind of plays out in this choice that you have. And it's kind of like, what do you value? Is it okay for him to transcend death, or is that unnatural? And is it a better, healthier way to just sort of accept it as a part? It's that sort of thing. It was complicated for me because I was in a romantic relationship with him.
But you let him do it.
No, because I was worried I would lose my sex scene.
Oh, okay.
Apparently you don't.
No, that's the thing. Is they don't even commit to the lich transformation because they're like, oh, by the way, I still look like a human when I want to, and so I will when.
Oh, I thought he turned into a.
When certain cutscenes need to save assets, I will.
Okay.
But the other reason it doesn't matter is because, one, the game doesn't present turning into a lich as being morally questionable in any way, or inferior. It's purely a level up for him, and everybody in the party agrees with and supports his decision immediately, which sucks. And like I said, it doesn't affect his personality once he's turned into a lich.
No,
it affects his appearance half the time. In an earlier Dragon Age game, this would be a big decision that other party members would have strong opinions about, and you would lose favor with them if you supported it, and it would allow you to oppose it strongly enough that you're like, no, I will kill you if you try this, and let you remember how Dragon Age Origins let you behead Liliana if you decided to taint the sacred acid?
Right. Yeah.
We are so far, like, legit. It pisses me off as a fan of these games that I cannot lose any party members during this game.
Mm-hmm.
That is the basics of, like, I don't know when the last Bioware game that didn't have the possibility of a party member just either turning on you and attacking you or just straight up abandoning you if you made decisions they didn't like. Maybe Mass Effect 3 didn't really have that, but so many people can die in so many ways in that one.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not true.
Andromeda definitely doesn't.
Tally will kill herself if you...
Right. Andromeda does not have that.
Okay, well, that's...
I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty certain there's nothing like that there. They're trying to do long form storytelling in there and fall on their ass. We'll get to that one day, but this is frustrating, but it is something. This is water in the desert in this game, and that there is a choice that matters and has character resonance. I think. I
mean, it's a unique. That's a problem. I don't think it matters.
It matters a lot less than it could.
Yes, they're really trying to minimize how much it matters, and that really to me erodes that. Like, oh, this is not a choice that's been presented to me in 7 other Bioware games.
Yeah,
like that it had novelty going for it, and yet they have that conflict aversion, which means they back off any interesting implications of it.
There's no. Apparently, you can't have your sex scene if he's a lich. I was hoping that Manfred would be involved when I finally got there, and he wasn't. In the sex scene,
maybe looking on and clapping the way that
something
he does,
like that, or just peeping, whatever. It is in a coffin, so that was kind of cool. But that's the only style point I'll give it.
Wait, you had sex with them in a coffin?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll give him points. That's great.
Yeah.
Wait, does he sleep in like a fancy coffin or something? Or
I don't think so. We were taking a walk in the necropolis in his little death garden, and then there was like, oh, look at this coffin. Oh, that's interesting. It was kind of just found it organically. And
it wasn't like he had set it up with rose petals.
No, that would have been. I wish. He's just not a romantic at heart. Is the problem. He remained, obviously the best character in the game for me, and yes, I think the only choice that mattered at all. You're right. There's a much better way to have done it. Water in the desert. So it's a pass for me, but I love Emmerich.
I would give, that's the only one I think I'll give a pass to ultimately, probably.
Tosh.
The Lucanus one isn't bad, but just wasting the butcher.
It's disappointing. It's disappointing. Yeah, there's enough bad in the Lucanus one. Tosh, though.
By the time I get around to Tosh, I'm actively looking for ways to antagonize her, like I'm talking about. And they start whining about how the Canary who they never lived under.
No.
But just like all angsty about it, would have made me into a berserker. And that upsets them. And so I've given 4 options to respond to that. And all of them are supportive and encouraging. I picked the most aggressive one, and I told them, you have the right to your feelings. God damn it.
So I actually found the final Tosh mission, like, there is some resolution to their plot. And I mean, Tosh's plot, of course, is getting their mother's approval for their decision to be non-binary and flying in the face of Antom tradition, even though that doesn't matter to them, and pirate tradition, even though pirates are totally cool with it, even Mom doesn't seem that bothered, frankly. Even Mom doesn't seem to be too put out by this. She's just sort of quiet about it, and Tosh freaks out a lot about it. But functionally, very little happens. It's still 100% the centerpiece of Tosh's entire subplot. But then in the last chunk, the final mission, which ends up being this humongous 3-hour affair, you meet a new enemy, the Dragon King, and go on this humongous Conan mission to kind of infiltrate his mountain of power on the other side of the Ravane map, which has been closed off to you the entire game. It is a major dungeon, and I was just like, why the hell wasn't this going on from the beginning? Why were we not doing Conan the Barbarian stuff from the start with these characters? Like,
That's a very good question.
Like, this is what I wanted the whole time. It's why I joined the Lords of Fortune faction, to do shit like this. And as such, it was fun, but it was kind of just like, why are you showing me a good time at the very end here? Why did you make me wait for this and pull it out of absolutely nowhere when it has no narrative purpose? Even the Dragon King, he's nothing, ultimately. Yeah. Like, if this is the purpose he's going to have in the game, make him the most heteronormative guy imaginable. Make him, of all the characters, refuse to respect Tasha's pronouns. I mean, then we could boo him in a fun way as intended in this story.
The way Tasha's mother actually goes out with the Dragon King was pretty good. I didn't hate how they resolved that. But to get there, we're skipping over the most hated scene in this game. That
oh yeah, sure.
Set all YouTube on a fire, which is the dinner scene where Tosh comes out to their mother, and hate to agree with that brigade, but man, that is a terrible scene. It's this completely didactic, utter after-school special thing with no effort at translating anything to the terms that are specific to this setting. The fact that they're all using the term non-binary, like that they explain exactly what that means in these careful academic terms. It's good gravy.
It's crazy that it exists in a world where there are multiple humanoid species coexisting that can have sex with each other. That we have dragon people walking the earth. We have the living remnants of gods or ghosts that represent emotions that exist in this world,
and people that are mutant abominations because they were possessed by those ghosts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
to be clear, the problem here is not that there's no room for trans or non-binary people to be included in Dragon Age. It's that the execution of these scenes sucks and really break the world building. Suddenly we're not in this dark fantasy world, but it's this Sesame Street scene where Gordon gently explains to the kids that, see, the term Muppet is what Grover likes to be called because he doesn't feel quite like a human or quite like a monster, and that's okay. And it is... I feel it does a genuine disservice to the trans community for it to just be done this badly. But
I would have to agree because the intended effect of it was not what they got with this game. I mean, there are a lot of trans people that worked on this game. The head writer, for example, and so this comes from a place of wanting to include this, and there's an obvious precedent for this being in Dragon Age. Most of Dragon Age games have a trans element in them. Honestly, going back to the first one. It's just always been handled much better. It's just always been handled way better. Makes a lot more sense in world, and doesn't really kind of just force such a 1-to-1 real world version of this in a way that nothing else in the game does.
Right, this is a game, a world that does, have slavery in it.
Yeah.
And racism and class issues in ways that are filtered through the fantasy setting, that not so much that you can't see them or anything, but they're there. And a world that is pretty progressive as far as homosexuality goes.
Very, yeah.
Relative to earlier fantasy settings anyway, and all that. And yeah, that's not done with bad intentions. It's just I think you did a really bad job with this. And I'll tell you, okay, I mean, you did a really bad job if the intent of this was to sway anybody who's harboring anti-trans sentiment towards a more open mind.
Oh, well, yeah.
Maybe
There's no
if it's
room at
just
all
to
for
make
them here. Yeah.
People who are already trans feel a little more reassured or seen. Maybe there's something you said there. But here's where you did a really bad job. This is what drove me up the goddamn wall. Outside of the gender stuff, Tasha's other character conflict hinges on letting me, the player, decide for them whether they should abandon their Qunari heritage in favor of Ravani culture, or vice versa. And that is, 1, not how cultures or people with mixed heritage actually work in my experience. And 2, really fucking stupid for the A-plot of this character arc to be this incredibly heavy-handed lesson about accepting the validity of non-binary identities as it relates to gender, and then have the B-plot built entirely on this really artificial binary distinction between identities as it relates to culture. Your whole character concept is that you don't have to be exactly one thing or the other thing, you fucking idiot.
The choice for which, by the way, Tosh is abandoning and putting in your hands.
Yes. The game makes me such an idiot that I can't connect those dots either as Rook. God.
It is a binary choice between being Qunari or Ravani pirate.
Yeah.
That sucks.
A choice which means nothing to any of the conversation going forward either. It's like only to draw my attention to, hey, here's a binary for the non-binary character to stress over and for all of you to accept without question.
See, this is why they should have leaned into this and had the Dragon King should have just been like, you'll always be a girl, Tosh. They should have had that.
Something like that, yeah.
Like, make it fun, at least. Give us that villain. I don't even remember what's going on with her, with the fire breathing. I don't know, man. I don't care. I liked the Conan mountain. That was fun. I wanted more Conan mountains and things like that.
Yeah, one of the best levels.
Mm-hmm.
That and the underwater prison are maybe 2 of the best levels from a design standpoint.
So
I would say one more example of just the game not allowing me to be a jerk with it. Because so after we get through this, now Tosh and Harding start flirting, which is kind of sweet. And but again, I'm trying to do a heel turn here that the game just won't let me do. So I'm trying to rain on their parade during these scenes, and I still get a Tosh greatly approves notification. I hadn't seen a greatly approves notification for 70 hours in this game, and I actively did not choose to be supportive. And then you get another Tosh and Harding approving at the end of that same conversation that I tried my damnedest to be a jerk in.
All right, so look, we were planning to finish this today. We had the intention of having our final conversation on the Veilguard here, and as it turns out, we kind of ran out of time because we haven't even touched the end of this yet. The end game of Veilguard.
And that's my fault. Yeah, I did not anticipate being as old as this game has made me, especially in the last 30 hours or so of it. But
yeah, well, I mean, these plot lines and characters, there's gripes. There's things to gripe about, and you can, if not now, when?
There are clouds to yell at, and we're going to come back and do a little bit more with the final mission, and I guess we'll try and figure out if we can still adapt this.
We've been doing that, so we have to, of course. Yeah. Hey, the final mission is the best part of the game. I'll tease that, right? We can agree on that. Yeah. I don't know. I can agree on that.
I think so.
Okay, well, thank you very much for listening to this. We have one more time to go on Veilguard. We're going to finish this out properly. Give it all the energy and attention that it's due in one final episode. Our wrap up of Veilguard. And of Dragon Age as a whole, sadly enough. Thanks for listening.